Well, we want to wish you all a very good morning.
Chris Evans!
No, hang on a minute. That's your walk, mine's not mine.
The Chris Evans Breakfast Show. Weekday mornings from 6:30 on BBC Radio 2.
In 1965, Vietnam seemed like just another foreign war. But it wasn't. It was different in many ways, and so were those who did the fighting. In World War II, the average age of the combat soldier was 26. In Vietnam, he was 19. 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 19.
The heaviest fighting of the past 2 weeks continued today, 25 miles northwest of Saigon.
I wasn't really sure what was going on.
19. In Vietnam, the combat soldier typically served a 12-month tour of duty, but was exposed to hostile fire almost every day. 19.
In Saigon, a U.S. military spokesman said today more than 700 enemy troops were killed last week in that sensitive border area. Throughout all of South Vietnam, the enemy lost a total of 2,689 soldiers.
According to a Veterans Administration study, half of the Vietnam combat veterans suffer from what psychiatrists call post-traumatic stress disorder. Many vets complain of alienation, rage, or guilt. Some succumb to suicidal thoughts. 8 to 10 years after coming home, almost 800,000 men are still fighting the Vietnam War.
There you go, 19, Paul Hardcastle. It's not just Live Aid that had a massive impact on the music industry 30 years ago. Who can forget that groundbreaking hit with a stark, powerful anti-war message? And now, 30 years on, Paul Hardcastle is bringing back his famous record 19 to a new generation. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure. Nice
Does
to
it
meet you.
feel like 30 years ago?
It doesn't really, no. If I actually say 30 years, it does make me feel old, you know. And I'd say it feels like 10 years to me.
You look 12.
Thank you.
Does it feel like 10 years? Who had the idea? Was it you who said, do you know what? I think people are ready to hear it again.
So basically what happened was I basically work for a record label now as well. And it's quite a nice sort of alternative to sort of actually be helping other artists. So the guy that owns it, a guy called Neil, I said to him, look, it's 30 years since, 19 was out. He said, well, why don't we sort of re-release it and actually give the money to a charity? So I thought, well, how can I actually bring it up to date? You know, we've had all the destruction mix. It's, I've done about Afghanistan before, and I thought the only thing that's really still happening, really, is the war in people's heads. So when they come back from a conflict, they're fighting theirself. And that was where I got the idea from for this last mix. And so basically that's why we thought we would support PTSD with it. So all the royalties and stuff from the album is actually going to I always call it a company, a charity called Talking to Minds, which basically looks after people that have got PTSD. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not only for sort of like forces people, it's actually like the police and people, say, like that work for an ambulance service. Because I guess they see as many sort of traumatic things as anyone, and so it's to help everyone, really.
That's absolutely brilliant. It was a massive hit. Did you know pretty soon this is going to be huge? Because wasn't it from the day of release? 3 weeks later, it was number one all across the world.
Well, what happened was I took it into Chrysalis Records. And
how old were you?
23.
Stop it.
And there's a young Simon Fuller who was actually working for, obviously does Pop Idol and the Spice Girls.
Yeah,
and all
of
that.
course.
So he's sitting there, and I said, I've got this new thing that I'm sort of, this idea that I've got to to play you. And he went, oh, let's have a listen. And the whole of Chrysalis actually looked at me as if I was like some lunatic. They just went,
did they?
What on earth is this? We think about it, a record about war with this thing in the middle that goes no, and all that. And Fuller was the only one that actually said, do you know what, this could actually be a hit. So how I got involved with Simon was, he said to me, look, why don't I leave my job here, become your manager if you'll let me? He said, he said, I've got that much faith in you. And I went, okay. I mean, I was so young, I didn't even know what a manager...
What are you talking about? What, that happened just like over a cup of tea in the morning?
That happened after the meeting.
Stop it.
No, seriously.
He was like, right, I'm gone. You and I are off. We're going to do this.
6 weeks later, we was #1 in 13 different countries.
Oh, my God, I feel so bad for
So,
Chrysalis.
obviously...
I feel so bad for them. They must have just been like, oh, that's what happened to those
So
two.
you obviously know the fact of 19 management. That's where it came from.
Oh, my goodness.
So that big red 19 that you see on all the TV shows and stuff, that's basically where it all started from one little record.
Are you still incredibly grateful? If somebody even says his name, do you just go, that was the boy,
Simon's
he believed in me?
Simon's my best man.
Is he?
He's my daughter's godfather, so, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you did it together.
yeah, and we're still in contact. He's in America quite a lot, but I mean, I went to his wedding and stuff.
Yeah.
So we are still really, really good friends because we realised what we both created together was something sort of special. So
Something phenomenal.
Yeah.
How did you let it not get to your head? Because that first phone call going, you're not going to believe this, it's #1 in 30 countries. You must have just gone, somebody get me a limousine and a girl in a bikini.
I've never been like that. That's the one thing I've never been like. And I still got all my old friends from the 70s. I'm actually, maybe that's why I did come through it okay. It's not my style. It's never been... I like to look at other people as stars and things. I've never felt anything like that myself. I've kept out of the way.
We're about to play the demo, because I think this is released, and this was what you created. Just describe the scene in your sitting room.
Yeah.
You had to tell your mum to leave, didn't you?
Well, what I said to my mum was, I said, you know what? I said, Mum, that TV in the front room there would sound a lot better in your kitchen. And God bless her, rest in peace, Mum, she did. She sort of let me have her front room to record in. And the demo was basically recorded in the front room of 98 Grove Green Road, Leytonstone, E10.
All right.
in 85.
In 85. And what can you also hear on this demo? Can you hear all kinds of other noise and weirdness?
Not really, no. I mean, the only thing I can say is it's from a cassette.
Okay.
I mean, that's where it's bounced from a cassette. But it's just the original version that I took into Chrysalis that basically got me the record deal 30 years ago.
OK, let's have a little listen.
OK.
In 1965, Vietnam seemed like just another foreign war. But it wasn't. It was different in many ways, and so were those who did the fighting. In World War II, the average age of the combat soldier was 26. In Vietnam, he was 19. In Vietnam, he was 19. In Vietnam, he was 19.
So what's so extraordinary was we were listening to that, and you said that's the pure nub. That was just you in your front room, your mum going, Paul, come in, have your supper, you Luke.
Watching Coronation Street in the kitchen for a few weeks. Yeah, no, totally. That was it. I mean, you could hear no backing vocals on there. The orchestra stabs aren't on there. There's lots of different things. But that was the very first thing that made sort of 5 people in Chrysalis look at me as if I was just broken out of sort of, Worley Mental Hospital, and one Simon Fuller
but thankfully one boy who went, this is, because nothing, I mean, it was groundbreaking. What genre would you, I mean, could you even put it in?
Well, first of all, because it had a dance beat, it went straight to #1 in the disco charts, which I did find quite funny that people were actually dancing to it. To be honest with you, it was a strange sight to see people actually dancing happily to sort of a record. I mean, the reason I made it was,
war.
I mean, the reason I made it, and the reason the 19 thing is so relevant is the fact that I remembered not that long before I'd made the record what I was doing at 19, and I was out clubbing on motorbikes in the cars and stuff, and there's some young kid sort of getting shot at the age of 19, and think about it, in America you can't even have a drink till you're 21.
Yeah.
So you can't have a beer, but you can have a rifle and be shot at. So it was just a crazy...
Still, people are dancing to that in nightclubs, must have been...
I mean, it was one of the things that helped it get to #1 in England as well. So I didn't go mad about it, but it was just something that was a strange sort of feeling when I picked up an award, and people were dancing to this record, and it was crazy.
How did you follow up How did you... Because after that, so you're number one globally, and you said you didn't want to just sit in a limousine and drink cocktails. What do you do next?
So the second record that came out was a real strange one, because in fact I had the record company telling me to do one thing. I had, Simon saying we should maybe do this. I had the press department saying that, it was everyone's ideas in one sort of record, and it was called Just for Money. And the good thing was that we actually had Sir Laurence Olivier and Bob Hoskins on it.
Stop it.
Glasgow Station. The Royal Mail train's loaded with over £2.5 million. That's more money than most people can dream of. But then, some people have big dreams.
What if we get caught? Of course we won't.
But say we do.
Don't worry, just think about the money. Imagine what you can do with it.
It's the last job I'm going to do. I'm in for this one, then I'm out.
It's a life of luxury, my son.
I'm off to Spain and that's it.
Go to Spain. This is going to be the crime of the century.
And yeah, seriously, and it was a track called Just for Money, and it was about the Great Train Robbery and the St Valentine's Day Massacre.
Righto. I don't even know what to say to you, Paul. I think I might just put you in my pocket and take you home.
Where do you think it actually entered in the chart?
Go on, tell me.
19.
Did it? Of course, it had to. Tell us about your success in the Billboard Jazz chart.
Well, I mean, what happened was, after 3 years of sort of being sort of, I couldn't go out anywhere and stuff like that, it did become a little bit sort of, not annoying, but I just didn't like it anymore. So I thought, right, OK, my career had already sort of taken off before 19 with a track called Rainforest in America, which actually, as an instrumental track, knocked Madonna off the top of the chart, of the 12-inch sales chart.
Stop it.
That's how Fuller got in contact with me. See, that was the precursor to me meeting him. That's why he called me into the label. Yeah. So what I did, I basically changed back to the American style that I was doing after England, and I've had just celebrated my 15th number one on that chart.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely massive congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in. You're going to raise so much money for this wonderful charity.
Hopefully, well, now it's going out on your show, there's going to be a lot more sales, isn't there?
Well, bless you. Available on double vinyl, CD and digital. 19, the 30th anniversary collection includes all 14 mixes of the iconic track in one package. I've just got to ask you while you're here, what's your favourite?
There's a track on there called the Cryogenic Freeze remix. I do get a bit arty with my titles sometimes.
Come on.
That's my favourite.
I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. Including Hardcastle's original demo recorded in his mum's front room. Here is another of Paul's hits. It's Don't Waste My Time. And vocals are by Carol Kenyon.
Yeah, I remembered Carol Kenyon from singing on Heaven 17's Temptation. And I thought, wow, she's great. And I knew I could make a great record with Carol. And I wrote this, believe it or not, the lyrics to this in the cab, because I'd had so many different things to do. I wrote the lyrics in the cab, met Carol, and I said, look, I'm just finishing these off. Do you mind waiting like a couple of hours? And she was like, I'm all right, fine, yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, we made the record in the day, and it got to number 8.
Paul, you're a genius.
Thank you.
Get out of here before I lick your forehead. Here's Don't Waste My Time. All theatre news with Mark Lawson after this.
Don't waste my time. Every Sunday we enjoy magical recordings together from all over the globe. So let me take you to a world music festival. Yes, we're going together to WOMAD, a music festival in Wiltshire.
BBC Radio 3 and 6 Music, live from WOMAD.
Join Lopa Gatari and me, Mary Ann Kennedy,
and we'll enjoy live sessions from the